There's something no one ever taught you, something that runs your life, quietly, almost invisibly. It's the hunger to be seen, to be chosen, to be told, you're enough. And when that hunger doesn't get fed, it becomes an addiction. You scroll, you post, you wait for the likes. You rehearse the text message before you send it. You shrink your truth to keep the peace. You wear the outfit that hides your fear. All because, somewhere deep inside, you believe love has to be earned. And it's not your fault. You were trained for this. Long before you had language, you were studying the faces of the people who were supposed to love you. Their tone, their approval, their disappointment. You learned how to shape yourself, how to read the room, how to abandon your truth just to stay safe. And over time, you learned something very dangerous. You learned that being accepted meant not being fully you. Now fast forward, you're an adult. You think you're making choices, but in reality, you're still trying to earn love from ghosts. You say yes when you mean no. You smile when you're tired. You flatter when you want to scream. And every time, you betray yourself a little more. Why? Because the addiction to approval is survival-based. Your nervous system was wired for it. Because once, it was the only way to be safe. But now, it's a prison, and the bars are invisible. And here's the trick. The more you seek approval, the emptier you feel. Because what you're really looking for is you. But you can't find yourself in their eyes. Let's pause here. Let's go to a story. She was the golden child, straight A student, always said the right thing, never cried in public. Everyone said she was so mature for her age. But no one saw her. Not really. Her pain was invisible. Her fear was hidden behind straight posture and pretty answers. And as she grew up, she became the woman who apologized for existing, the one who made herself smaller in every room, the one who thought being chosen meant she had to disappear. Until one day she broke, quietly, alone, in the bathroom of a house she didn't want to be in, with people she didn't feel safe around, and that was the beginning. The moment she realized no one was coming to choose her, she would have to choose herself. And maybe so will you. Let's talk about social media, because it's not the problem. It's the mirror, the likes, the comments, the comparisons. They show us just how addicted we are to the numbers, to the faces, to the tiny hits of dopamine that tell us you matter. But what happens when the likes slow down? What happens when no one responds? Do you disappear? Or do you finally show up for yourself? The Way of Mastery teaches that you are the creator of your experience, not the victim, not the abandoned child, not the orphan of love. You are the one who can choose again. Right now, in this breath. You don't need their applause. You need your attention. You don't need their acceptance. You need your permission. And this isn't easy work, because to stop seeking approval means you might disappoint people. You might be misunderstood. You might stand alone. But that space, that silence, that's where the real you lives, the one who isn't begging, the one who doesn't shrink, the one who remembers they never had to perform to be loved. So what do you do now? Let me tell you. First, pause. When you're about to reach for validation, stop. Put the phone down. Close your eyes. Breathe. Ask yourself, what am I trying to prove right now? Who am I afraid won't love me if I'm real? Second, tell the truth, even if your voice shakes, even if it costs you their approval. Truth is how you come home to yourself. And every time you tell it, the addiction loses power. Third, rewrite the story. You aren't here to be consumed. You are not here to be liked by everyone. You are here to be free. Free to feel, free to speak, free to belong to yourself. If you've made it this far, it means you're ready. Ready to stop chasing applause and start listening to your own heartbeat again. Ready to become the one person in your life who never abandons you again. So here's what I'll ask of you, gently. If this touched something in you, if it stirred the part of you that's been waiting to be seen, like this video, subscribe to this channel, and in the comments, tell me the moment you first realized you were addicted to approval, because someone else might read your words and remember their own worth. This is not a performance. This is a return. You don't need to be chosen. You already are. Stay close. More is coming. And you are already enough. Part 2. The empty applause and the mirror of social media. Let's talk about the high. The moment you hit post. That little thrill that says, maybe this time they'll see me. You refresh. You wait. You feel it in your chest. A flutter. A like. A heart. A comment. It's working. You're visible. You're valid. For a moment. But then, it fades. Fast. The heart doesn't stick. The comment isn't enough. And before you know it, you're right back where you started. Scrolling for the next hit of approval. This is the trap. Social media didn't create your approval wound. It just industrialized it. It turned your nervous system into an algorithm. It made your worth something you check every morning. It made your soul a product. But you're not a product. You're a presence. You're not here to be consumed. You're here to remember. So here's the deeper question. What if no amount of approval will ever be enough? Because you're trying to solve a spiritual wound with social validation. You're not craving likes. You're craving unconditional love. But likes are conditional. Algorithms are conditional. The crowd is conditional. And real healing only begins when you stop letting conditional love define your worth. Let's go deeper. Let's tell another story. He grew up in a house where silence was punishment, where smiles were earned through good behavior, where emotions were inconvenient. He became a man who never raised his voice, never showed his needs. He called it strength. But it was fear. He feared rejection more than anything. So he became the version of himself that was the easiest to love. Until one day, he realized no one knew him. They loved the mask, not the man. And that's when the ache became unbearable. Because it wasn't just that he wasn't loved. It was that he had never truly let himself be loved. He had spent his whole life auditioning for a role he never wanted. And maybe that's you too. Maybe your smile has been a performance. Maybe your charm is a survival skill. Maybe you've confused approval with connection. But one of them fills you, the other drains you. And here's the medicine. If you keep editing yourself to be loved, you'll never feel loved, only accepted for the role you play. But love, real love, is not applause. It's presence. It's truth. It's still there when you fall apart. And the only way to invite that kind of love is to risk being fully yourself, even if it costs you the applause. You're not here to be liked. You're here to be real. And if being real costs you approval, that's not a loss. That's liberation. Let that land. If being real costs you their love, it was never love to begin with. Part 3. Breaking the cycle and reclaiming yourself. There comes a point in every healing journey where you stop asking, "Why don't they love me?" and start asking, "Why do I keep abandoning myself to be loved?" That's the turning point, the awakening, the quiet revolt. Not against them, but against the false version of you you've been dragging around for years. The version that always agrees. The one who filters their truth. The one who only speaks when it's safe. The one who never takes up space. That's the version that was built to survive the absence of real love. But it's not you. It was never you. And here's what no one tells you. Healing this isn't about never caring what people think. It's about not needing it to define who you are. Because, truthfully, you will still want connection. You will still feel the sting of disapproval. You're human. That doesn't make you weak. What changes is this. You stop chasing connection that costs you your peace. You stop performing in relationships where the cost of being honest is abandonment. You choose you, over and over. Not out of rebellion, but out of reverence. The Way of Mastery says, "You are the one who chooses what every moment will be for." So ask yourself, what is this moment for? Is it for being seen or being true? Because one of those will anchor you, the other will drain you. Let's ground this. Here's what breaking the cycle looks like in real life. You pause before answering a message. You notice the part of you that wants to say what they want to hear. You breathe, and then you answer with truth, even if it's awkward, even if it's quiet, even if it's not what they expect. You decline the invite, not because you don't care, but because you're exhausted. And you finally decided that your energy matters more than optics. You post what matters to you, not because it's polished, but because it's real. And you know some won't get it, but you also know you're not here to be understood by everyone. You're here to be home for yourself. Every time you choose truth over approval, you make space. Space for the real you to emerge. Space for authentic relationships to form. Space for the kind of love that doesn't require a performance. And the beautiful, terrifying truth. When you stop trying to earn your worth, you discover it was never in question. You are worthy. Before the likes, before the applause, before the mirror. You were worthy before you were wounded. You are not here to chase validation. You are here to remember you were never broken to begin with. Part 4. The courage to be unapologetic. So what would it feel like to not wait for anyone to approve of your truth? What would it feel like to speak honestly, even if your voice shakes? Have you ever actually sat with that possibility? Or does your body flinch just imagining it? Ask yourself, who are the people I still perform for? Whose silence still controls my behavior? Whose love do I fear losing if I show them the real me? Pause. Feel that. Because the answer isn't just in your mind. It's in your nervous system. It's in your breath. It's in the way your shoulders tighten when you speak up. It's in the way your chest sinks when they disapprove. And here's the truth most won't tell you. Breaking free from approval addiction isn't about being louder. It's about being honest. Sometimes honesty sounds like a whisper. Sometimes it sounds like, "I'm not okay." Sometimes it sounds like, "No." And every time you choose it, you are reclaiming something sacred. Something they never had the right to take from you. Your voice. Let me ask you this. Where have you mistaken silence for safety? Where in your life have you shrunk yourself to protect a connection that was never real to begin with? When did you start believing that your softness was a liability and your needs were too much? And what would happen if you stopped managing everyone else's comfort and started choosing your own peace? These are not easy questions, but they are necessary ones. Because when you stop chasing approval, you start attracting truth. Real friends, real intimacy, real alignment. The truth is, approval is shallow. It's easy to give. It's easy to fake. It's not rooted in knowing. But love? Love is forged in truth. Love is forged in transparency. Love is what remains when the performance ends. You will be too much for some people. You will be misunderstood. You will be rejected. Sometimes for things that have nothing to do with you. But that's not failure. That's clarity. The ones who matter, the ones who see you, they don't need the edited version of your soul. They want your rawness, your contradiction, your healing in motion. They don't need you to be perfect. They need you to be real. So here's the practice. Next time you feel the impulse to please, pause. Ask yourself, am I about to abandon myself to avoid disappointing them? Am I performing, or am I connecting? Then choose the one that lets you breathe deeper, even if it scares you, even if they walk away, even if your hands shake, even if your voice trembles. Choose truth, because every time you choose truth, you teach your nervous system that it is safe to be seen. And eventually, it becomes your baseline, not just something you try to do, but something you are. Part 5. The shift from performance to presence. Let's come back to this moment, this breath. Not the future you, not the healed, enlightened, perfectly boundary-having Zen monk version of you. Just you. Right here. Still a little tired, still a little unsure, still healing, and still worthy. Right now, without earning it, without performing for it. Without dressing it up in filters and compliance and applause. Can you feel that? Even if just for a second. Can you feel what it's like to belong to yourself? You've spent years playing a role. But your soul doesn't want an audience. It wants authenticity. It wants to exhale. It wants to stop clenching in rooms that don't feel safe. It wants to speak without flinching. It wants love that doesn't ask you to edit your essence. So here's the shift. From performance to presence. From will they accept me to will I accept myself in this moment, even if they don't? From looking outward for reflection to listening inward for recognition. Let's get practical now. You've felt this. You've seen your pattern. So how do you change it? Here's your next move. The healing starts with this. 1. Start disappointing the right people. The ones who only loved your mask were never your people. Let them go, not with bitterness, with blessing. 2. Track your triggers. When you crave validation, pause and ask, what part of me is afraid right now? Often it's a younger you, a version still waiting to be told, you're okay, you can rest now. Give that voice your presence instead of outsourcing it to others. 3. Make truth a daily ritual. Start small. Speak your real opinion. Say, I don't know. Say, I can't go. Say, I need space. These small acts become the foundation of internal safety. 4. Clean your social feed like you'd clean your energy. Unfollow noise. Mute comparison. Prioritize digital spaces that nourish, not perform. You don't owe your attention to anyone who profits off your insecurity. 5. Return. again and again, because you will forget. You will reach for the old mask. You will slip. That's not failure. That's the invitation. Return to your breath. Return to your worth. Return to the truth that you never had to earn love by being anything but you. This is the beginning of a new rhythm. One where silence doesn't feel like punishment. It feels like peace. One where saying no doesn't make you bad. It makes you honest. One where love isn't something you perform for. It's something you recognize because you've finally given it to yourself. And if you're still here, still listening, then you're not just watching a video. You're remembering. And remembering always comes before freedom. So if something inside you stirred, if you felt seen in this mirror, like this video, not because it's content, because it's a reflection. Subscribe if you want to keep remembering who you were before the world taught you to beg for love. And in the comments, tell me, what mask are you ready to take off? What version of yourself are you finally done performing? Because when you write it down, you start the process of release. And someone else might see your words and realize they've been carrying the same weight in silence. You are not alone in this. You never were. You were just playing a role for too long. And now, you're remembering the script you were born to speak. It's not polished. It's not perfect. But it's yours. And it's time.